My name is Timur Bislangurov. I'm managing partner at Vista Immigration Law Firm in Moscow. Today I'm going to speak about obtaining of a residency permit based on a child Russian citizen. I would like to draw your attention to the fact that such possibility for obtaining of a residency permit based on a child doesn't depend on the age of a child. Yeah, so the child can be of any age. So let's go into the documents that would be required in order to make the application for the immigration center for the residency permit. So number one is uh, translated and notarized your passport. Yeah. All of the pages of the passport have to be translated and notarized. So a very frequent question is, okay, how do we translate blank pages or the pages with the stamps of the border control? Well, the translators who dealt with that before, now they know how to do it. Yeah, literally everything on the passport has to be translated. So if it's a blank page, they just write down there that, I know, from page 12 to page 44, no information. Yeah, so they know how to do it, but what's important is that everything on the passport has to be translated. Second document which is required is immigration card, the one that you receive when crossing the Russian border. Third document which is required is migration registration. And again, I would like to draw the attention to the fact that some of the foreign nationals that work in Russia as highly qualified specialists, they have the right not to register themselves up to 90 days. And it's very frequently that quite a number of those foreign nationals, due to frequent travels, they do not have such a registration. So such registration will be required when applying for the residency permit. So you would need to do this registration. It is very much advisable to do this registration through my documenti, my documents, and not through post. Because at the moment when you submit the documents to the immigration center, the information that you've done your registration has to be in the immigration database. And if you apply to my documents to make the registration, normally it takes them about 3 to 5 days to input this information into the database. So keep this in mind. Next document which will be required is police clearance or criminal record check from the country of your citizenship. Yeah, and this document has to be apostilled. And this document has to be translated and notarized. Yeah. Again, the translation of this document has to be done very carefully and professionally so that the information on your names, given names, second names is the same as in your passport. There are many peculiarities and many basically grounds why immigration authorities would deny an acceptance of the document specifically based on the police clearance or criminal record checks. Yeah, they literally have this thick pile of samples, and whenever they need, they look into that and see how the criminal record has to look like. Yeah, if they don't know, for example, for a particular country, because every country may have its own peculiarities, and those documents need to be properly notarized and translated. So the next document that you would need is confirmation of your financial sustainability, and that can be either a document issued by your employer, such as 2NDFL certificate, which confirms that you've been paid a salary and that the taxes on that salary have been paid. It can be a 3NDFL document. Basically, it's your personal tax return, which you filed yourself if you don't have, I would say, a single employer. If you are a freelancer, You can also, and you are submitting the annual tax return 3 NDFL, and then such document is also okay to be provided. But the most common, I would say, document that is used is bank statement. But a bank statement, it's not the information on how much money you have left on your account, yeah, on your current account. The requirement is that it's a deposit account on which there is interest. So the immigration authorities would be specifically looking to the specific wording. So this account has to be called in Russian vklad. And the amount of money on that account is 140,000 rubles. And I mean, you can withdraw this amount of money once you successfully submit the application to the immigration center. Other documents that would be required is medical tests, and for the diseases that are on the list of the diseases that have to be that you need to clear up and confirm that you don't have them. So it's tuberculosis, HIV, lepra, Hansen disease. So those diseases have to be, medical checks have to be provided. It is also important that the medical institution you go to also don't make mistakes in the in those documents. Yeah, meaning that your name has to be written correctly as in the translation of your passport, and the issuing authority in your passport also has to be written correctly in the medical certificates. Other documents that would be required are two documents on the child, confirming that the child is actually a Russian citizen. So, birth certificate of a child that was born in Russia by itself is not a confirmation that the child is a Russian citizen. So, if a child is born in a family where one parent is Russian citizen and another parent is foreign national, it's not automatically that the Russian child is a Russian citizen. Yeah, so there is an additional step that has to be taken in order to confirm that the child is the Russian citizen. So on the birth certificate, on the other side of it, on the back, there has to be a stamp, yeah, which says that the child is a Russian citizen. Obtaining of the stamp is pretty straightforward process, and it can be done at MFC My Documents by the Russian parent applying there. Another document that may confirm, and that is a confirmation that the child actually is a Russian citizen, is a child's foreign Russian passport. Yeah, so that passport which is used in order for traveling abroad. Yeah, so if a child has such a passport, this is a confirmation that the child is a Russian citizen. One of those has to be provided. Another document on the child also that you need to obtain and provide to the immigration authorities is so-called Form 8. Form 8 is a document confirming where the child is registered, where the child basically resides or permanently registered. Yeah, because the child doesn't have a Russian internal passport where Russians have their permanent registration stamp. For the child, it's Form 8. This Form 8 is also obtained at MFC My Documents. Then the other documents would be photos. For photos size 3 by 3.5 by 4.5, they have to be matted. Then state duty in the amount of 5,000 rubles. And which is important and which is actually the simplification of the process is that foreign nationals that apply for the residency permit based on a child Russian citizen, they do not need to pass the Russian language, history, and law test. So this document and these tests are not required in order to submit the documents for the residency permit. So the once the documents are successfully submitted to the immigration center, the processing time now is 4 months instead of 6 months as it was before. There might be certain delays, so from our experience, it's actually 4.5 to 5 months, the actual processing time. But the residency permit, again, as of November 1st, 2019, is now issued not for 5 years, it is issued for indefinite period. Thank you. I hope this was useful. Take care.